So now we're getting to Lind himself writing. Maneuver warfare is not new. It probably dates from the first time a caveman surprised an enemy from behind instead of meeting him club to club. Sometimes the word maneuver is used as a synonym for movement, such as in references to fire and maneuver in small unit tactics. So that's, we have in the book Extreme Ownership, cover and move, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about move. He's saying fire and maneuver is the same use of the word maneuver to mean move. Maneuver is organized movement of troops during combat operations to a new access and region for the purpose of taking an advantageous position relative to the enemy in order to deliver a decisive strike. So that's sort of the classical definition. But when used in the phrase maneuver warfare, maneuver means much more. Only recently has someone suggested a convincing answer of what maneuver means. That man is a retired Air Force colonel and fighter pilot named John Boyd. Colonel Boyd's development of the theory of maneuver warfare began not with ground battles, but with a study of some mock air-to-air combat exercises conducted at Nellis Air Force Base in 1974 that led him back to the study of air-to-air combat during the Korean War. American aviators were very successful in that conflict. They achieved a 10-to-1 kill ratio over their North Korean and Chinese opponents. Colonel Boyd began his study with the question, how and why did we do so well? He noted that in several traditional measures of aircraft performance, the principal communist fighter, the MiG-15, was superior to the American F-86. So you might think, Americans always have the best technology. Not true. So, and Boyd will end up doing Boyd. We're going to hear quite a bit about him right now. But this guy was sort of a strategic genius in the Air Force. And a bunch of people on Twitter have hit me, and social media have always been saying, you got to do Boyd, you got to do Boyd. And I know I got to do Boyd at some point. And this is sort of a good introduction to Boyd. So here's the difference between the MiG-15 and the American F-86. The MiG-15, it could climb and accelerate faster, and it had better sustained turn rate. But in two less obvious measures of aircraft performance, the F-86 was much superior to the MiG. First, the pilot could see out much better. The F-86's bubble canopy gave its pilot very good outward vision, while the MiG's faired canopy made it difficult to see out. Second, the F-86 had high-powered and highly effective hydraulic controls, and the MiG did not. This meant that while the MiG could do many individual actions, including turn, climb, and accelerate, better than the F-86, the F-86 could transition from one action to another much more quickly than the MiG. It was better in the transition. So for all you jiu-jitsu players, when you start that scramble, the F-86 is a better scrambler. Mm-hmm. Using these two superiorities, the American pilots developed a tactical approach that forced the MiG into a series of actions. Each time the action changed, the F-86 gained a time advantage because the F-86 pilot could see more quickly how the situation had changed, and he could also make his aircraft shift more quickly to a new action. So he can see what's happening faster. Then once he sees it, which he saw faster, now he can make his adjustment faster. With each change, the MiG's actions became more inappropriate until they were so inappropriate that the MiG gave the F-86 a good firing opportunity. Often it appeared the MiG pilot realized what was happening to him and panicked, which made the American pilot's job all the easier. Later, Colonel Boyd began studying ground combat to see if there were any situations similar to that he had found in the air war over Korea. He found that in battles, campaigns, and wars like Vicksburg and France, a similar thing seemed to have happened. One side had presented the other with a sudden, unexpected change or a series of such changes to which it could not adjust in a timely manner. As a result, it was defeated. And it was generally defeated at small cost to the victor. Often, the losing side had been physically stronger than the winner. Just like the MiG-15 was physically faster, it didn't matter. And often, the same sort of panic and paralysis the North Korean and Chinese pilots had shown seemed to occur. Colonel Boyd asked himself, what did all these cases have in common? His answer was what is now called the Boyd theory, which is the theory of maneuver warfare. The briefing Colonel Boyd gives to explain his theory, patterns of conflict, takes over 5 hours. So Colonel Boyd does give this brief, and it takes over 5 hours, or he did when he was alive. But at the cost of missing some of the subtleties and supporting historical evidence in the briefing, it can be summarized as follows. So here's a kind of a synopsis of the Boyd theory that Lind is going to put together for us right now. Back to the book. Conflict can be seen as time-competitive observation, orientation, decision, action cycles. Each party to a conflict begins by observing. He observes himself, his physical surroundings, and his enemy. On the basis of his observation, he orients, that is to say, he makes a mental image or snapshot of his situation. On the basis of this orientation, he makes a decision. He puts the decision into effect, i.e., he acts. Then, because he assumes his action has changed the situation, he observes again and starts the process anew. His actions follow a cycle, sometimes called the Boyd cycle or OODA loop. And OODA is OODA, and that's observe, orient, decide, and act. If one side in a conflict can consistently go through the Boyd cycle faster than the other, it gains a tremendous advantage. By the time the slower side acts, the faster side is doing something different from what he observed, and his action is inappropriate. With each cycle, the slower party's action is inappropriate by a larger time margin. Even though he desperately strives to do something that will work, each action is less useful than its predecessor. He falls further and further behind. Ultimately, he ceases to be effective. And we clearly, this is obvious in combat. It's also obvious in jiu-jitsu. Very clear when you're training, when you're rolling with somebody. If they're not making adjustments fast enough, it's two or three transitions, and you got them. You're on their back.
Yep.
The Boyd theory defines what is meant by the word maneuver in the term maneuver warfare. Maneuver means Boyd cycling the enemy, being consistently faster through however many OODA loops it takes until the enemy loses his cohesion, until he can no longer fight as an effective, organized force. Sometimes a Boyd cycled enemy panics or becomes passive. This is an ideal outcome for the victor because a panicked passive enemy can be annihilated or captured at the lowest cost in friendly casualties. At other times, the outmaneuvered enemy may continue to fight as individuals or small units, but because he can no longer act effectively as a force, he is comparatively easy to destroy.